We're live, man. We're live on YouTube. We're live from lockdown, and we're live from my fridge, me getting a beer. So, hope you're all well. Hope you all had a nice day. Hope everything's okay. I've had a bit of a shit day, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to do a different stream tomorrow. I'm having me a beer. I'm putting it in this fucking big Game Al miniature Stella glass. So I'm going to treat you guys tonight because we're on stream number 30. I don't know how much longer we're going to go on, if I'm honest, but we're on stream 30. And we've talked about video games for 29 of them streams. But we've touched on some VHS collecting and we've touched on some toy collecting. So I have delved into the deepest, darkest corners of YouTube and Instagram. And I've got some toy collectors for you all to talk to tonight and listen to their journey and listen to their nostalgia. So I hope you're all going to stick around. I hope you're all going to enjoy it. If you like what you hear and you see, these guys have all got Instagram presences, they've got Facebook presences, and a couple of the guys have got YouTube channels, especially my first guest who I'm going to bring in. There's another guy who's going to join us. He's just having his tea. So if someone randomly pops in, I'll make him introduce himself. But my first guest, I think a couple of you may know him, definitely at least one of you. He has a presence on YouTube and he's going to introduce himself to you now. Say hello to everyone, Aaron.
Hello, everyone. How's it all going?
Just let everyone know who you are, your channel's name, and a little bit of what you're about.
Will do. Well, I'm Aaron, and me and my girlfriend Vic, we run EmpireToys1138. So we are an Instagram account, Facebook account, and a YouTube account, all sort of based around toys. So from toy hunting to basic toy reviews and just toy podcasts, all that sort of stuff. We get involved and we just chat what we love to do, and we love to collect. It's nice and simple.
I mean, me and yourself, we've spoke over YouTube for a couple of years, Instagram, and obviously we got to meet each other at the NEC Toy Fair. And we both pick each other's brains a bit. I suppose you asked me a few things about video games. I ask you things about toys. And it's kind of a good relationship to increase each other's knowledge, really.
Definitely. It's very, very, very similar ethos and sort of a community based around us. From the only difference being is that you've got a games cartridge or you've got a toy. Everything's the same. We all go to fairs. We all like to share our passions, talk to other people that share the same passion. And we want to get a bargain. We all want to get the good stuff, and it's all the similar thing, apart from one's on the TV and one's in your hand.
Well, what I've found since doing these streams is a lot of the guys who are into collecting video games also have a little side collection of toys, including some of the. I had a guy on last night, Retro Dave Nintendo. He's recently re-uploaded some of his old videos, and he's got some complete in-box Ghostbuster toys that he was collecting as his passion. So, as I say, I think the two hobbies go hand in hand, really, and it's all a little bit about that nostalgia trip, I think, massively.
100%. We all grew up sort of in the same era, so we all grew up. You grew up, you went and watched your film, you went and watched the film with the thing, then you went out and bought the toys, and then you went and bought the video game. So it's like the easiest one to say is Star Wars. We all had Star Wars games. We all had Star Wars toys, probably, and we all grew up watching the films. And it's all part of that nostalgia and that bringing you back to a happier time, I guess.
100%. That is massively hitting the nail on the head. When I'm playing my vintage video games and my retro video games, it's no longer being like 36-year-old Dana. It's back to being 12-year-old Dana. Forgetting about the problems of every adult day-to-day world sort of thing. So that is massively a part of it. We'll bring in our second guest until the third one comes. He's a friend of yours, and I've got to know him from the event as well. So if you can introduce himself.
Hello. Am I super foggy? Apologies for the camera quality.
It's not a 4K face, that's for sure. But
yeah. Hold on. Let me just give that a wipe. There we go. Right, yeah.
We're here to listen anyway. We're here to listen, we're not voyeurs.
I'm Dan. My Instagram is Mr. Danplastic. Yeah, I'm basically a toy guy, as in I collect and collect and collect, and many people may say hoard and have serious issues and problems with that. But recently, I guess a couple of years ago, I decided to maybe shift some stuff on, and so kind of met Aaron and a few other guys and Andy and whatnot, and yeah, kind of got involved in not less of. I still buy way too much, but I go into toy fairs to sell some stuff, to make some more money, to buy some more stuff. And we also, me and my better half, dabble in video games. She's old school, used to work for Sega back in the day, so we have a lot of retro and modern video games, consoles, that sort of stuff. But my passion is toys, action figures, action collectibles. They're not dolls, they're action collectibles.
If it's not got a dress on, it's not a doll. It's not a doll unless it's got a dress on. I didn't know your partner used to work at Sega as well. That's something new, massively.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to talk about gaming industry, games, old school retro, do not speak to me, because unless it's Donkey Kong Country, I'm your man. If it's anything other than the game Donkey Kong Country, my other half Hannah is the absolute word on that. In my opinion, she's very knowledgeable, educated, keeps up to date with all that sort of stuff. But I can barely fix. I said that I can't even. What was I trying to do the other day? I was trying to plug something in. I'm very techno rubbish, if that's even a term. So I lean on her for all my technological needs, including plugging in game systems. Yeah.
I've just had a comment from one of my regular viewers. Right, get Hannah on tomorrow then.
You might need about a 6-hour show for her to go through what she knows. And
I know Stu's
oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Can I tell you, Dana? Right. So I'm a big fan of Super Nintendo, Mega Drive as far as gaming goes. That's kind of, and Game Boys and that sort of stuff. I like platformers, first-person shooters to a degree, but then they got real complicated, and I've got no patience. So I thought, how can I condense all this into one? Because I've got multiple systems all over the place, and I splashed out a few years ago and bought a Retron 5. You heard of them?
Right. Yeah, we know what the Retron 5 is in the community.
I'm sure you know more about than I do. So having got that, the excitement of plugging that in, whamming in I think it was a Genesis game, and it was working, and I was happy. And yeah, after one play, never worked since. I think I might have bent all of the pins somehow, and so that's my level of gaming knowledge. Is I use something once, and if I break it, I never go back to it.
What I will say is, I'm not sure if it was the Retron 5, but it may have been the Retron 5. Was known to have a lot of issues. I've got the predecessor, the Super Retro Trio here, and even now it still has a smell of burning from the SNES cart. Just the SNES cart area. Now, this is how I bought it. I bought this from a car boot sale for 10 quid. The Mega Drive / Genesis works, the NES works, but there is still a horrible smell of burning from the SNES cart area that's never worked.
I tragically did not pay £10 for mine. I paid probably closer to 160 quid or whatever, and I only really bought it because I wanted to play Ikari Warriors on the NES without having to set my NES up, because it's the only that and Double Dragon are the only games I have any interest in playing on the original NES, and I have to turn my NES upside down now for it to work. Is real old school.
Stu's saying that the Retron 5 had the grip of death, so I'm assuming that's when the cart's going in, it's gripping too much and cause some sort of issues, maybe some short out. And I need to just put that back under my thing so I can't smell the slight singed soldering or whatever it is. Sure. So obviously you guys know nothing about this stream other than the fact I've sent it. The rest of the guys all know the kind of format. First thing we like to do is just talk a little bit about lockdown, how it's changed your day-to-day life, how it obviously affected you. Like me, you can't go to the event selling. So what I usually do is I go to the person on my left first, which is Aaron tonight, and then to you, Dan, just to prevent any over-talking, really. So Aaron, just a little bit about lockdown. I'm guessing that you're not seeing Vic because she lives up Birmingham way, isn't she?
Yeah, she lives in, as I call it, bandit country.
That's right by me. I'm not a Brummie, though. Just to be clear, I'm not a Brummie. I'm from the Black Country near Dudley.
So we haven't seen each other. Luckily we saw each other the weekend before lockdown. So I took the Monday off work, saw her, and then saw her on the Monday, came back down south, and on the Thursday we were all working from home at work. So we haven't seen, I think, 6-7 weeks now. So that is obviously very, very hard. But you know, we're sort of used to the long distance relationship, but it's obviously trying in the sense of we just want to see each other, spend time together, and we both share. Excuse me, I'm not. Sorry. So yeah, Vic's a massive toy collector as well. She loves collecting toys and stuff from her childhood and everything. So we both share the same passion. So when we go out to car boot sales, to toy fairs, it's like a time for us together. It's almost like we call it like toy dates and Comic Con dates and stuff, because we both enjoy the same thing. So doing that is not having that is hard. Obviously, buying stuff, not having car boot sales. I know a lot of you guys probably buy and love the hunting games and stuff. Same as us, loving hunting toys around car boot sales. So having that's also, I literally have a growing mounds of boxes and boxes of just stuff that's getting ordered in, and I like going and actually buying stuff off shelves.
Well, have you got one where someone has turned the Amazon logo into a penis? Fuck you. That was from Horatio Van Basten, one of my subscribers and one of the viewers on YouTube. Drew a massive penis.
That's just reminds me of like being back at school and just drawing them everywhere you could. But yeah, so that's hard. Working from home was fun for the first couple of weeks, and now it's tedious. But you know, happy that I've still working, sort of thing. But that's about it. I miss the hunt. Because I was just about to say, I actually don't pre-order stuff. I like the idea of going somewhere and hopefully it's still on the shelf. Yeah. And just not having that.
I'm massively like that myself. Like a lot of guys who are collectors, they're focused. They're collecting on a certain system. They use CEX to buy the games, or they go to the game markets. I avoid that because I dream of one morning getting up, going to the boot sale and finding that one thing I've been looking for. Again, the thrill of the hunt definitely is the main thing for me.
Probably 2 years ago, I picked up it was off when you go to the car boot sales. It's one of those stalls. It's a scout stall, and people donate to the scouts, and they just sell just to raise money. And I got a Sega Mega Drive, 2 controllers, and a bundle of games, all for £1.
Fuck you know. That's better than some of our lot pickle.
The guy said it didn't, and the guy said it didn't work, and whoever owned it had like soldered in the aerial cable into the back of the Mega Drive. So I just looked it up, ordered a cable off eBay at one of the other ports, and it works fine. So I just use it to test games that I pick up. But I miss that. I miss going somewhere. I miss going to a field, suffering from hay fever, and rummaging through people's crap just to hopefully find a bit of plastic crack.
Yeah, I think we all feel like that. What I will say is, I know there's a lot of married men over in my comments who are wishing they were in the same sort of separation that you and Vix are, that's for sure. This is where Tutor UK probably pops up in the comments, says he wish he was social distancing that far from his missus or something. So down to Dan, how's it affected you? Like, obviously, I don't know your situation, so I'm going to learn.
Yeah, I mean, slightly different to Aaron. I am blessed to be isolating with my lovely other half. Miraculously, we haven't murdered each other yet, although there has been a couple of times that it's come pretty drastically close. Yeah, I pretty much the same. I miss seeing my friends and my family, and I miss elements of toy life. But other than that, and obviously the economic issues, and of course the people dying, which is horrific. I could live like this forever, if I'm totally honest. I don't necessarily. I'm not a very sociable person. I don't really go out. I don't club. I'm not a party guy. I'm not a pub guy. So, as far as being trapped at home, working from home, I like I'm living my best life, apart from all the bad stuff.
So, yeah. You know that line you've just said there? There is about 3 lads in the comments who are going to love that you just said living your best life, because that is what they say all the time.
It's a bit sad. It's a bit sad, though, isn't it? That's my best life. It's like, yeah, be shut off from the world, do nothing, see no one. Of course, I'm absolutely looking forward to getting back to toy fairing and car booting. But again, yes, for the hunt, but more so because I enjoy I enjoy the social. Like I meet up with Aaron or Andy, or once in a while, if Andy ever can sort his life out, Aaron and Andy, that's always nice to get the trio together. Yeah, finding stuff, but I'm using this time. Well, me and Hannah are trying to use this time to organize and get rid. I have to get rid of stuff because I have more stuff than space. And we joke about it, and Aaron will probably laugh, but like I've got too much stuff. It's embarrassing. It's a monument to a wasted life, the amount of stuff that I've got, and I have to cut down. I have to cut down on it. My loft is full. My garage is full. All the rooms in my house are brimming, not just with toys, with other stuff as well, because me and my girlfriend both have problems. But yeah, getting through it, trying to organize it before I go back to work. And yeah, so obviously sad that I basically missing family and friends is the biggest thing to me. The toy bit, I'm like, man, it'll be there when we come out, or it won't. It don't matter. It's just toys.
I can emphasize with what you're saying. Like, obviously, I think it's not just being a collector, but also doing a bit of buying and selling. You don't just have your own collection; you have stock that needs to be somewhere. And I mentioned earlier in the series that my biggest reason why I stopped doing YouTube videos because I had my house rewired, and that's when I bought a lot of toys to get into selling toys as well as games. But I bought them while my stuff was in storage. Stuff came back, there was no space, and my stock was living in my front room for like weeks, and it massively got me down that I was just coming home from work looking at a pile of boxes that I needed to fucking sort through. Luckily I've got my loft sorted where there's some stuff, and I built a little shed out the back where my stock is. Is it too late to join? No, Andy, jump on, mate, jump on, just click the link, I'll add you in. That's Andy is our third guest.
Oh God.
If you've ever met Andy, this is exactly him. Like, is it too late? I'm 20 minutes late. I don't know what's going on. He's probably gonna have spaghetti hanging out of his beard. Like,
he'll fit it with us all. I don't know like you guys though, but as being a game collector, the one good thing I have had out of being locked down is I've been able to do a lot of gaming. Now, with toy collectors, I'm guessing you no longer do the old bashing the toys together. It's more of a visual appreciation of it. I'm guessing.
I think when you're a toy collector, playing with adults' toys now is taking them off, rearranging, dusting, and putting them back in different orders. See, I don't know how well you can see it, but I've got these are the IKEA Deltoffs. I can never pronounce it.
The Tolf.
But I've actually ordered some extra shelvings to go in them. You have to clip them in.
Yep.
So I've been doing that. So you can see that one there, the Transformers, doesn't have the extra ones in yet. So I've been having quite fun just sort of taking stuff down, rearranging and all that sort of stuff. So I guess that's kind of what you do when you're older with toys. But I also do toy photography. So I take them outside, take pictures of them. I use the I don't know if you see it there, the Star Wars Black Series figures and the Power Ranger Lightning Collection figures, and I just take them outside, do photography with them and stuff like that. So I guess that is the way of playing with toys.
You see, Aaron's making me look bad there, because other than obviously Lego being differently, but so Aaron gets toys and he displays them and he looks after them, he takes pictures of them. I get them, I wham them in a box or on a shelf, and I barely think about them again until I go, oh yeah, I've already got that. And that's why I have to get rid of stuff, so I can just get down to the things that I enjoy looking at. But yeah.
Our third guest has finally joined us. We'll let him introduce himself. Hello. Say hello, Andy.
Hey.
I was kind of hoping you'd be wearing a cap to fit in so we could distinguish like toy collectors from game collectors.
Oh, I can grab a hat.
Dana, if I take my hat off, you'll notice that I've got a real lockdown haircut going on. I look like it's like Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys. Look at this. What's going on?
Well, that is the winner. Coolest cap is Andy with the WWF cap by a mile.
Yeah, how much do you pay for that, Andy?
I'd rather not pay as my girlfriend can hear me.
Oh, is that the hat you won? You won in a competition?
Just put your hands up and we'll guess the price. Oh, it could have been worse. There's a guy who I hope he's in the comments. Actually, he's a games collector. He's big into his arcades, but he collects the data disc vinyls that are like the game soundtracks on vinyl. And he accidentally wrote on his Instagram that he purchased it and how much. And then the next thing, his wife was commenting underneath how much he paid for it.
What's the age I was I hate for my wife to sell my stuff for how much I told her it was.
That's definitely one that Toot says. I'd hate for my missus to sell my collection for how much I told her I paid for it. So, Andy, just introduce yourself. Talk a little bit. Cause I know you've just started a YouTube channel. You're big on Instagram. So just introduce yourself to everyone.
I'm a nobody, really. I'm a child that sells toys. No, Andy's Toys and Models is what I go by when I'm selling toys. And I recently, due to the lockdown thing, started doing a YouTube thing, Andy's Toy Bin, because it's toys that I have on hand at the flat. And it just keeps me sane a little bit, really. There's a lot of waffle in the videos, if anyone actually watches them. A lot.
I hope some of the guys who are over in the comments who are all literally just constantly talking about toys for a change rather than video games, hope some of them go over and subscribe. We like a waffle in the community. I've got a question. Andy's only been here 2 seconds and he's got the first question. And it's from my friend, Xfiles2708, who needs to check his Instagram because I've sent him a message. Question for Andy. Favourite WWF, old school WWF wrestler? His favourite's the Ultimate Warrior. Who's yours?
I would say Ultimate Warrior because I was actually watching, what was it, Royal Rumble 91, I think, the other night. And his entrance is just so high octane, so good. His character was amazing as a kid. Then, an adult, I've realised all the backstories, all the sort of locker room gossip. And it turns out he's not a very nice man, but his character was awesome.
He was also a terrible, terrible wrestler. Terrible,
yeah, he was a shit wrestler.
I was getting to that because my second favourite would be Hulk Hogan. Like, I loved Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior. But when I watch them back, the two of them, awful.
Basic white guy wrestling.
Yeah.
My all-time favourite from back in the day, back in the 80s, we'll call it, would be Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Because even Hogan had a good match with Perfect. That's how good Perfect was. And that is who I would say. But if you guys are into wrestling, please answer the question because that's another little side of it.
Dana, can I jump in and say that my personal favourite wrestler in the whole world ever, by none, is Ravishing Rick Rude, who on the back of your comment on Mr. Perfect, also just once, made the Ultimate Warrior look like he could wrestle.
In the steel cage?
Yeah, when he beat him for the IC belt, wasn't it? Smashed him. Yeah, and IRS, basically anything to do with Money Incorporated, Ted DiBiase, heels. It's got to be heels, man. You're talking about early 90s, Bobby Brain Heenan managing heels. It's got to be.
Rick Rude was and genuine badass, genuine hard fucking man, Rick Rude, genuine badass.
Big time. Is it too weird to tell you that I have a Rick Rude tattoo? I have a tattoo of his face on my back. That's true fact.
No, it's not weird unless you don't show us. We now need to see that here on the stream.
I'll try and get it. It's just a little one on my shoulder. You see that?
Yeah, that's class. That's class. I like that. We like this sort of stuff on the street. Someone's already saying proof, but you've already proved it. So, how about you, Aaron? Are you much of a wrestling fan? Because you're a little bit younger than us. Not much, but a little bit.
I'm only 21, so.
Does Nick know that, mate?
How can you tell with this lovely, mad, out of control bit of hair I've got on my face? I'm very much. I don't really have any favourites. I'm such a low-key wrestling fan. I'm so lapsed with it. Like, those sort of era characters were definitely out of my. When I actually remember wrestling, it would have been in the sort of Attitude Era when I actually can remember watching it. So like I grew up on like The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold, and all that sort of stuff. But
still a good era to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I got back into it. Do you? We're going off. We're going to talk a bit about wrestling. Fuck toys for a bit. remember the Royal Rumble when the price was on Austin's head? No chance in hell.
Yeah,
I got back into wrestling when that. I went out of it roughly about when Sid was champion, was fighting Shawn Michaels about early '97. I'd had enough of it. I'd had enough of fucking Bret the Hitman Hart and that bullshit. So I got all uninterested with it. And then when a kid at school just said to me, he said, "Oh, do you still watch wrestling?" I went, "No, I ain't watched it for years." He lent me a VHS that he copied off his Sky TV of the Royal Rumble, no chance in hell. And then that got me back into wrestling. I went back and watched the previous year, like obviously the Hell in the Cell and stuff like that with Foley and Undertaker. And I got back into it then until the invasion angle, and then it spoilt it for me. It was almost like everyone wanted to see those dream matches, but then once they'd happened, it was like, what now sort of thing. Like that's
keep talking about wrestling. I'm going to disappear for 30 seconds, and I'm going to bring something to the table that's going to weave the two together. Hold fire.
Okay, no worries. Should we count him down, or should we? I like his that's like a wrestling throw there, isn't it? Like that, is that Tiger King or something like that? He's got in the background that throw.
What's left in the background that we can now?
It's the zebra tiger print. He's got his
Do you guys know what he's bringing back?
I got a feeling I know what it could be.
Yeah,
it might be $1 million worth or something.
Oh man, he's got the $1 million belt, has he? Is that what we've been guessing?
Or he's going to come back and he's Macho Libro.
Oh, you thought
I just saw it then. I just saw a glimpse. Yeah.
You thought I was going to wear a wrestling mask, didn't you?
I was hoping you were.
So I've just grabbed a handful of random ones. So I collect Hasbro and the Mattel Retro line wrestling figures, pretty much exclusively. But because I now have them all, I've gone on to the dangerous world of customs. Yeah. So
is it Hasbro Mania on Instagram?
Hasbro Maniacs. Yeah. Danny Cage. Yeah. Oh yeah. Some of the stuff they do is crazy. I speak to him quite a lot about him and the guys that do the customs. There's a guy called Anthony Jones who's great. Jobs Customs, various people. But just because we were talking about him, you can see him. Oh look, it's a little Rick Rude there. Lovely little Rick Rude custom.
I was just how I had the vintage one. Has Dan got the 1, 2, 3 kid? You've got the complete set, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a complete set. My Series 11s are a little bit janky. I'm not prepared to pay the prices that they're going for now, especially even like a loose 1, 2, 3 kid, which by the way is the same, obviously the same stance as Rick Rude and Ric Flair, which is the worst of all the Hasbro figures. A loose one's going for like it's going for like 200, 250, 270 quid. But oh look, what's this? It's another Rick Rude custom. Yeah, boy, that's good.
If you don't come out of lockdown with that hairstyle,
I wish, mate. The wet look Jerry curl perm, bit controversial, and Dana you might balk at this one, but my girlfriend's favorite, she's a big wrestling fan. Her favorite wrestler of all time. Who's that?
That's Chris Benoit, isn't he?
That's Chris Benoit. Yeah. We have a Chris Benoit. I got this the other day. This is a nice one. That's CM Punk.
I saw that on your Instagram. That's one of your last Instagram posts.
And with the same guy that made me that, a guy in Ireland, Jobs Customs, who's really good. He made a nice little Bobby Heenan for me as well.
Nice one. We got one of your friends in the comments anyway. I just want to give him a shout out. His channel's worth checking out. He's got an immense collection. Is it Edge Retro Geek Out? You were on his stream the other day, weren't you, with Tom Aaron? That's correct. If you are interested in toys and you're interested in what the guys talk about, I was talking to Dan earlier. Without being disrespectful, this guy's next level with some of the stuff he's got over in Belgium, if that's correct, yeah. So please, if you're interested, go and check out Edge Retro Geek Out. That is for sure.
I've got a bone to pick with Ed because he almost made me spend 200 quid on a Toxic Crusaders figure that I didn't know I needed.
That big I was watching that. I can't think what it's called, but I was watching that he was showing it on the stream that Aaron was on.
Yeah, I was trying to buy one. Well, to try and buy one, be one of the lucky 20, but I lost track of time and didn't. So it was the universe telling me that maybe I don't need it in my life.
So just for the people out there in the comments, it was a figure from the Toxic Crusader line that was never made. It was in catalogs. It was like a sort of T-Rex Toxic thing.
It's like I can't remember. Is it like Trashosaurus? I can't remember the name. Ed will probably. Well, Ed will know, but I can't remember the name.
It was in the pictures. I think it was in like toy catalogs, but it never got made. And this, I think, was it Sweden?
Yeah.
Or Switzerland.
Sweden.
This guy's basically got the designs and he's made his own version of it, all painted. It's made off the old molds.
Yeah, what I watched is he's used molds, but you guys are almost saying he's probably painted it better than if the toy line had made that toy sort of thing. Like he's gone into it.
When you do toys, obviously they want to make it as cheapy as possible, don't they? So
he's gone next level. He got one of his guys to do the box and the artwork. I mean, it is 100% out of the Toxic Crusaders collection. It's really top stuff. Is he called Technodrome and Toys?
Like
I think Technodrome.
Yeah.
Just seen Ed actually said I didn't get it, so he's actually got it.
Oh, Ed will have it. Ed will have it. I know. It's sickens me. Disgusts me. His collection is disgusting. It's brilliant, but disgusting.
Here we go. He's written a little bit about that toy that we're currently talking about. So, as I say, Ed featured that on his stream with Aaron and Tom Pizarro on, and I assume he's going to obviously do a feature video on it once he gets it and once he hooks it up. What I will say is, in the way of like how toys are, games are the same. Like, there's a system called the Amstrad GX4000. Now, there's a game that was only limited release on that. It's called Chase HQ2. Now, that is like a holy grail, hard to find, because for a long time, people weren't even sure if it was ever actually made. There's only 2 copies people know of. There's a kind of sort of similar mythology within the toy collecting world. I remember famous Toy Hunter episode was to do with a Thundercats toy that they weren't sure that was ever actually produced or not, and they went to the guy who worked on it, sort of thing. So, with that said, what is like one of your holy grails that you'd like to find to each of you? Like, we'll go Aaron, Andy, then Dan, sort of thing. Like, if money's no object, sort of thing. One thing. So,
money's no object. Holy grail. I think it will have to be it'll be Super Sentai Power Rangers, so what they were in Japan, and it will be a giveaway that they did in Japan. Basically, it's this Saba from the 2nd season, also the White Ranger sword, but it was all pink.
right.
And basically, it's like a real bright popping pink. So, but you can only get it if it was like a mail away, or like you had to buy so many of the toys, and then when you got the toys, you got the token, and you could. So that's basically it. So it's not, obviously you can't buy it. It won't be in English, you won't be in sort of Western society packaging. It will be Super Sentai, and so that will be the holy grail of like no money. But I did mention it on a video. I think it might have been in Ed's video, or it might be the one with us guys in it. But the holy, like, so the grail thing that I want is actually not expensive. It's the Power Rangers Command Center, and I said to the guys, I found it on eBay. It was only like £40 on eBay, but I want to actually go get it and like walk down like a toy aisle or a toy fair and it just be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, because to me, going online and just clicking on something and ordering it is not the fun. Like, the fun's hunting it down and like finding it and that sort of thing. And maybe at a toy fair, seeing someone else walking off of it and being, oh no, like
that would be the worst ever. That would be the worst ever. Watching someone else walk off.
Yeah, I know, but then it entices the hunt even more, then, doesn't it? So that'll be it. So
yeah. How about you, Dan? Your holy grail? You don't have to tell us how much if your missus is in ear distance. Don't worry.
That's all right. My missus is over there. You've been asked to go on and talk about games at some point, by the way, because of your superior knowledge to mine. Yeah, I've already embarrassed myself. You're right. My grails would depend on my mood, depending on what I'm looking to collect at that point in time. I mean, just on the back of your point, Dane. I mean, Aaron's been offered several times over at various boot fairs and the rocket fire in Boba Fett, which I'm sure.
I was just about to say, sorry, Dan. Dave Star 333. My missus is convinced she used to have a rocket firing bubble when she was a kid.
She
Oh,
didn't.
Darth Steve.
Hello, mate.
Yeah, only
you're going to answer it.
if it was broken. And if it was broken or you made it yourself, I think is the answer to that. Because when they're like 3 in existence that are actually made.
They never went through. They're all prototypes. They never went out to anyone. So
I unlike Aaron, I don't want a Dayglow pink sex toy as my holy grail. Right now, I would say what I'd love. Yeah, very ribbed. What I'd love, but it's not even necessarily the cost. It's just the rarity of getting them. I'd like a full set of the Star Toys wrestling figures. Ian, the toy monster, has 2 of them in his shop. He's got the Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan, but there also exists is Big Boss Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, and another one who I can't think of right now. I'm pretty sure it's 5, maybe 6. Though I think they're made in Italy or Spain or something. Sorry, mate. Hacksaw. Thank you. Yes. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Sorry, you're quite right. And I've seen them knocking around, and they kind of go for maybe 200. It's like 200 quid each. But I've never ever seen a Big Boss Man, and they're very high. And people that have them don't want to sell them. They look freakish. If you haven't seen them, after all, later on tonight, check out Star Toys Wrestling. But they've got like crazy hair and wild expressions, and they're big. They're kind of like 12 to 14, maybe 14 inches. They're a strong toy size. Yeah.
Holy shit! I'm looking at them now because I've just had a little bit of a Google.
Yeah, they're good though, aren't they? I mean, they're ridiculous. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah. Jesus Christ! Yeah, Hacksaw's hideous. Hacksaw is hideous.
Yeah, they all look like they've got serious like pained expression, like anguish. They're all anguished, haunted. Maybe I think they are the ghosts of other toys, and that's why I like them in my collection, because they're freakish looking, and I love them.
They all have the expression on the face like they've just trod on some Lego with no shoes on.
Yeah.
So how about you, Dan? Your holy grail, if money's not an object, sort of thing.
For me,
sorry, Andy. Andy.
No. Oh, was it? Sorry, I don't know if it's my internet. But everything's going quite slow, so I'm like, huh? What?
No, you're okay, mate. It's probably you though.
Don't worry, everyone.
And Andy.
The internet can't handle the power of that cap. It's breaking everything.
All we want to know, Andy, is what's your holy grail toy?
It's going to be Laser Beast, mate. You mark my words.
I can't even know what you're saying, but for me, it would have to be if money was no object. It's something that I just can't afford to spend the money on. Plus the money that I would spend on it, I could get maybe a whole different toy line, if it makes sense. I like collecting various toy lines, but my holy grail would have to be the vinyl Cape Jawa from Star Wars. But even a loose battered one is still like £7. And I'm not dropping 700 quid on like a 2-inch figure.
No worries. I'm just going to drop you in and back out, Andy, to see if your internet catches up.
I got a really good little dropout then from Andy. It sounded like he wasn't prepared to spend £7.
Yeah, I thought he said £7. I think he means 700 quid. Can you hear us better now, Andy? Hello. He's going to come back. God, I thought you were going to be the problem tonight, Aaron. It's not. It's Andy. So what we usually do on this stream is we usually give our gaming history, like our complete history of gaming. So obviously, just tell us about toys growing up, like what sort of toys you're into. So Aaron, if you want to go first, talk your toy journey.
So toy journey, toys I remember having as a kid, Power Rangers and Star Wars mainly. Lego. I had a lot of 90s Action Man as well, because I think that was quite big at the time, like the 90s stuff. So I had a few of them, and that's pretty much all I remember actually having quite a lot of in one go. But I did have like a few figures, like I had some Transformers. I had Street Sharks and stuff like that, like one, two of sort of thing, because my brother sort of was an '80s kid, so I had a lot of hand-me-downs from the '80s, which is probably why I've got a bit of a fondness for that stuff, like videos and stuff. But I did sort of gaming as well. I've got like PlayStation, was into that, so I've still got a lot of old PlayStation games that I've kept. A few of my favourites. Like one of my favourite games to play was Command and Conquer, Red Alert, and the Tony Hawk series. I don't know if that's could be quite a newbie thing to say in the gaming, but I love. I think
there's one guy, Retro Bear, who doesn't like Tony Hawk's Pro Skating at all, but for me, I think they're fucking brilliant games. So,
I think it's
although Retro Bear's a nice guy, fuck his opinion on that. Sorry, bro.
And I have to admit though, like, and maybe that Retro Bear will probably agree with me, but it did give me an unrealistic expectation of what to do on a skateboard. And when I was like a 6-year-old kid, I jumped on a skateboard and like sort of flew straight into the wall.
I've never actually been on a skateboard, although I owned several skateboards during the 80s and the 90s purely because of what was on them. I remember winning a show like Live and Kicking, one of the Saturday morning shows. I won a Ninja Turtles skateboard with the shape of the turtles' feet on. I so wish I still had that. And I got my parents to buy me the Ghostbusters one. And literally all the fuck they did was lean up. They must have annoyed my dad because all they did was lean up a wall. I had no intention of learning how to be on a skateboard. I couldn't fucking be on a skateboard. But they were just cool items. Obviously, I won the one, so that was free. But I never ever used them. I wish I still had them. 100%.
I've actually, in the loft, I've got a Power Rangers skateboard like that with the nice bit at the front and the like the coloured, like the red coloured tape grip on the top of it.
I imagine they weren't up to the standards of Tony Hawk's was using. That's for sure. I think they were probably very much below par. That's for sure. So was that your toy history complete? Obviously not your collecting. We'll get into the collecting. And
Yeah,
your collecting
that's pretty much it. Like, I would say, and I've said it a few times, because there's going to be a really weird thing in the sort of toy community, because I must have been at almost the last age of kids having toys before like gaming became as sort of on the way to being as good as it now. Because I remember for my friend's birthday, he got the first Xbox, and we played Halo for days. Do you know what I mean? And he's just going in and out, isn't he?
Yeah. I just keep adding him because he's entertaining. He was fucking better when he was in the kitchen earlier cooking his dinner. I can't even hear him now.
It's getting better. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Hey.
Okay.
We're just finishing the stream now, Andy. So if you want to say bye.
Yeah, no, easy go.
Don't, because he'll actually go.
I'm just kidding. What we've been talking about, we'll let you go have your go next because your internet's quite stable, unlike your camera work. So basically, just what your toy history is like as a kid, what your first experience of toys was, and what, not your collection side, just your toy journey sort of thing.
No, one thing that I definitely had as a kid and was massive as a young kid was Thundercat, and as an adolescent, I sold everything when eBay came to this was popular, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to sell everything. I think I got like 11 quid for like everything, including Bengali, Palmyra, Linkso, like idiot. But yeah, Thundercats was huge for me as a kid. 90s Action Man as well, right? As like an older kid. But then, yeah, I guess after that would be the Kenner like 95 Star Wars range. And then that, led me down the rabbit hole of trying to buy toys to collect them. Right,
nice one. So, Dan, you're sorry. I'm going to tell you the toys I used to have as a kid after this, and it'll probably blow your mind what my parents got rid of mine.
Can I just, you mentioned Live and Kicking.
Yes.
Do you remember a program called Hangar 18?
No, I don't. What was it?
Did they have Gilbert the Alien? Was that Hangar 18?
Shit, yes.
Yeah.
I remember one called Ghost Train as well with fucking some of the sheep on it.
Yeah.
A fucking pocket sheep on it or something.
And just you mentioned that reminded me. I have a friend who was on Hangar 18 as a child and had the opportunity to win a mountain bike with 6 gears, and he took the mystery box and went home with a cabbage. That's a true story. And, and everyone saw it. Everyone watched it on TV. About 10 years old, walked away with a cabbage. He ate
Please
it.
tell me for the rest of his life at school he was called Cabbage Boy or something.
No. I mean, he owned it. He was like, yeah, he just ate it. He cooked it up and ate it. So fair play to him. Toy wise, so yeah, I had a bit of everything, but a lot of nothing growing up. So lots of sort of jumble sales, church fates, hand-me-downs, that sort of stuff. But lots of G.I. Joe, or most of, crotches broken, arms blown off. They're the ones you use as the dead guys, and all that sort of stuff. Star Wars, bits of Mask, bits of Rock Lords, a Centurion here and there, a Visionary here and there, a Muscle Man thrown in, just bits of toys that I gathered together, and things that I maybe had complete. Like I had the Coleco Rambo, the actual Rambo complete, and I had a couple of Master of the Universe that were complete, but the rest of my He-Man were kind of hand-me-downs and junkers. And so I guess a lot of my friends growing up did have all the good stuff. And it's not really that tricky to work out that when I kind of got my own money growing older, I've always collected toys and the stuff I had, but I didn't have a lot of money growing up. So when I had my own money, it was like trying to buy back my youth and buy back things I didn't have to show no one. No one's the winner. I didn't win this game of buying all the stuff I didn't have, but all the the Transformers and the Mask and oh yeah, my friend had that and I couldn't afford it, so I bought it. And then I got, I guess, my other than Hasbro, Mad Balls, and a few other collections that are complete. My biggest thing that I got into, which really got me into collecting again, was 1/6 toys. So Hot Toys, Sideshow. So like the 12-inch action collectibles, dolls. They're dolls. But of various things, custom ones and that. So yeah, I don't know, probably the same old story as everyone else. You had something when you were younger and then you didn't. And so you try and buy it all back again. Yes, he who dies for the most toys does win. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm winning apparently, but I need to shave it down because I can't enjoy it at the moment because I have too much stuff. There's too much stuff to enjoy everything that I've got. So.
Right, so I'll tell you what I had growing up as a kid because, as I've said before, I was quite spoiled because I was younger than my brother and sister by quite a bit. So I had probably nearly all the Ghostbusters toys, all the He-Man, all the Thundercats, including that green lizard with the tongue that flips out. I had that. I had Bengali. I had Link. So I had literally every time a toy come out, I'd have it, sort of thing. I used to have a box that I called was full of my miniature toys, which had Muscle Men in it. Had Battle Beast, Laser Beast. They were all in there. Mad Balls. I had the complete set of those with the trikes, with the big trike, and you put them on and the heads would simultaneously pop off. Trying to think what else. I had a few masks. I didn't have as much mask as everything else. I remember getting in the 90s when I was in hospital. I had my tonsils out. My parents got me the 90s Action Man, the first black Action Man. Is it Striker? They got me that for being in hospital, and they got me Bart versus the Space Mutants on the Master System. But literally, as a kid with toys, like I was massively spoiled. And my parents went to the boot sale one week because I know I had the Moat Monster, the blue one from Thundercats. Parents went to boot sale, sold every toy £1 each. And now, as I say, I know the worst thing that happened was eBay came around, and the first thing you do is you look up what I used to have, and Andy's gone again.
He's gone to cry. He's gone to cry about.
He's heard your story.
Someone's mentioned Robin Williams in the comments. Now that's another toy line I had complete, which was Hook. I had all the toys from Hook. Rufio with the red stripe through his hair. The fat kid who you could roll over and make into a boy. Yeah. Like literally, whenever like the Aliens toys I mentioned on this stream, I used to go to Rill on holiday, and that was the only toy store I could get the Alien figures in. And I literally just spent a shit ton of money when I went on like we used to go to Blackpool once a year, and Mum and Dad would get like one of them big shopping bags, and that would be full of action figures, Ninja Turtles as well. I remember my mum and dad having a real hassle getting me the full set of the original lineup of the Ninja Turtles for that birthday and Christmas. And the same with Power Rangers, because I was big into Power Rangers as well. To get you all 5 of the original Power Ranger lineup for that Christmas was near on impossible. And then my parents was they were traveling 10, 15, probably 20, 30 miles to a different Argos, because Argos seemed to be the main place that was having them coming regular back then, trying to get me the full set of the Power Rangers. The Visionaries as well. I had a ton of those as a kid. So action figures was a massive part of my childhood. And if I could have both, I would collect for both. But I just don't have the space and all the finances to do both. But toys as well as games were a massive part of me growing up, 100%. Do you think Andy should come back?
Childhood? It sounds like your childhood is what spurred my adulthood. As in, I had a leg of a Centurion or a Visionary, whatever, and people like yourself had the full collections, and it's nice.
It weren't just full. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of them weren't new. Like, you know, I'd go to to complete my He-Man set, I'd go to the boot sale as a kid, rummage through the box. You'd find that one figure that you hadn't got, and you buy it. So, although I had a lot new, a lot were second hand. Like all my Star Wars figures, they were second hand. They were my brother's. I remember he had them in like like the old school bags, like an army satchel. All his Star Wars figures were stored in there, like sort of thing. And they were handed down to me. But the thing is, when I was a kid, like I remember my old man working 7 days a week, and that was obviously to make sure I didn't fucking go without. And birthdays, Christmas, I was 100% spoilt by my parents. And looking back now, thinking the money they must have spent. I mean, I had Mum Ra's tomb when no one else had Mum Ra's tomb when I was a fucking kid. I had Mum Ra's tomb, stuff like that. There used to be a company called Jolly Green Giant. I don't believe they're still, like, they went bump in the 90s. That was one of our local toy shops. And, like, you know, again, probably some of the toys were bought in clearance lines just to bulk out my present sort of thing. But I was massively spoiled, and looking back, I appreciate how hard my parents worked to get me that shit. But then they went and sold it all for £1 each to the fucking dumbasses.
Isn't it mad though that the toy lines that we like, things like the Kenner Aliens, me and Aaron like Starship Troopers, and all the stuff that we remember from, like you say, from Jolly Green Giant and Gamleys and places like that. Like the amount that you see now, if it's still on card, has got that reduced sticker on it, and you're like, wow, at one point this was £1.80, and now it's £45. It's crazy that what turned into collectible, you know.
I remember there's a place near me called Briley Hill. It's a shithole, right? It's quite a little town. But I remember they used to have like a pound shop there, and that at one point was full of clearance Star Wars figures, the original like Return of the Jedi, because they couldn't give them away. And pardon me, beep burps. I remember them probably being 2 or 3 for £1 because they just couldn't fucking get rid of them in the end, and no one wanted them. Now, if you was a clever person back in the day, bought them and sat on them carded, you're laughing now, sort of thing. That Thunder Tank that I've got that's been at the NEC, that and Mum Ra's tomb have got the infamous Jolly Green Giant black permanent mark across on it, which meant it was in the reduced section.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Like the famous figure that we talk about that was a clearance figure that's now ridiculous. Is the Yak Face from Star Wars? The last 17 wave of figures. There's pictures of it in outside Woolies in those wire metal bits.
Yep.
For £1.49. Now a loose one in good condition sells for nearly £200.
You know what really pissed me off? I know I had that as a kid. Mum and Dad sold it for £1.
And you'll get more than that if you take it to America, because it never got released in America. It only got released in Europe and Canada. And you're sitting there going, there's pictures of people here for like £1.49, and like there's people in America that pay big money for it because it was just never released.
But don't you guys think that because of that the kind of golden age of that level of collectability has been and gone, the Star Wars model has kind of killed it, in the sense that if something's collectible now, as in it's going to be worth a lot more in the future, it's either because it's made to be collectible, it's a limited run, or it's very expensive to start with. So for someone to come out with like a toy line and it just becomes super expensive in the future. Let's put it this way, me and Aaron joke about it. I don't think we're going to rush out and buy up all the Ben 10 toys in the hope that in 20 years they're going to be worth what Star Wars. For me, the age of, oh man, that might be worth something, it's kind of done. So you know what you're looking for now, I think.
I'm going to throw it out there: modern actual toys, not toys that are created for us as adults, are dog shit. They're really shit. But also the thing is as you say, they were naturally not made to be kept on a card. All the stuff up until like the mid to late 90s, it was meant to be ripped fucking open and play with. And again, there's always some people who will buy two of everything just in case someone sits on it. But 99.9% of people who bought those Star Wars toys ripped them open, played with them. Now, as you say, now in a more savvy world, people are thinking differently to that. And you know what? There probably is some idiot who sat on a full seal Ben 10 toy line who thinks he's going to retire on that. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's how I feel. And to be honest, it happens with games now. People are buying games not to play and keep them sealed and buying the digital content, hoping that they will be worth more in the future. Whereas to me, toys and games are meant to be played with. They're meant to be fucking used.
But what I find as well, like, and I'm assuming, I'm just going from like experience, it's the same with the gaming world. Back when we were younger, one kid would be the Power Ranger kid. One kid would be the Turtles kid because he liked Turtles, so he had a lot of Turtles toys. One kid, same with gaming. One kid, like, I always had PlayStation stuff and Xbox. Yeah, my mate of mine was always Nintendo. He had like a 64 and everything like that. And obviously he was always like, "Oh, you're so lucky you've got a PlayStation," and I was like, "Oh, you're so lucky you've got a 64." But the fact that nowadays, I just think everyone has everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we've all got a bit more money to like freely spend on that sort of stuff. Where back in the day, like you said, like your dad worked 7 days a week.
Well, the internet also slightly dampened the idea of collecting, because when we were young, certainly me and Dana, I'm not disrespecting Aaron, but we're old as shit, older than Disco, as you know. Like, you know, in the early 90s, even late 80s to a certain degree, going around looking for things, you had to physically look for them. If it wasn't at the car boot, if it wasn't at the church fair, if it wasn't in the shop, that's that then. Whereas now, if I wanted something and I was prepared to pay for it, I could absolutely find it online somewhere. You know, someone would sell it to me.
Yeah, I mean, what I'd say there is, like, when I said I used to go to Rill and I'd always pick up Aliens toys there, that's because they weren't in any of my, like, you know, that toy line wasn't in my local toy store, so I couldn't just go and get it. I might be able, you know, like how they'd have one or two of like your more common toys, like they probably had like, you know, the Queen Alien, the normal black alien, but they wouldn't have the range of like the different Scorpion Alien and shit like that. To get that, and it was almost kind of not like a toy store. It was more like your collectibles, like with your big adult collectibles as well. But it had, like, because they were horror connected toys, it had those as well, and they were quite cheap. Stu 2 to UK has pointed out that maybe there will be cycles, because in the game, sorry, it's further up. The cycles. What we find is like, you know, stuff that was deemed not collectible, like Stu pointed out, PS1 6-7 years ago, nobody wanted PS1, whereas now PS1's become collectible. So I think there's that cycle of when someone like hits, like, you know, late 20s, early 30s, they might get nostalgic for collecting them. But as you guys said, everyone now has everything. Like, you know,
it's a really good point, and you're probably absolutely accurate. I guess what I'm saying is, I think back in the day, in the era we're talking about, things weren't bought with the forethought to collect them because they would be worth something. Whereas now, because of what happened, everyone's like, maybe. Although on that PlayStation point, I found an old game that I used to love on my PlayStation called Jackie Chan's Stuntmaster, and I looked online and I was like, oh, that's crazy that what was some random games that people are charging for them. But yeah, I mean, everything's collectible, and you're right. As soon as the age groups roll by, you yearn for the youth, right?
Yeah. Question from Eddie. That's Roller X Core. He's an inline skating guy, but he's also, his main channel is about video games. What do toy collectors think of the new reaction figures? So, what's your opinion on those? They're like almost a new re-envisioning, aren't they, sort of thing?
Do you want to go first, Dan?
Yeah, if we're talking, so we like the little
Super Savages.
The Super Savages. So I think I like them in the sense that I have a few because I think they're a nice addition if you collected a type of something. So I like I don't love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I do love the characters the Gentleman from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and so anything the Gentleman related I'm down with. And so when they released one as a reaction figure, I'm like, cool, I'll add that to my collection of that type. But I don't know if I'd collect them as a thing themselves. I see, so even right now, even some of the like the Jaws ones going for silly money, but I don't know. It's a bit of a Funko Pop thing, I guess. Listen, anything that gets people buying toys, I'm down with. Like, it's cool. I think the carding's cool. They look cool. I wouldn't collect them for the sake of collecting them myself, but I would buy 1 or 2 figures to add to a collection that I already was into, for sure.
What I definitely say is I don't think they're designed to be collected as a full set. They're almost like how you do it. Like I know there's the Big Trouble in Little China one. So someone like me who's into the John Carpenter films might just want those few. I don't think it's not like a classic range like where like you had He-Man, so you collected all He-Man. They're spread across, as you say, like the Funko Pops. Like some people do collect all Funko Pops, but then there's some who just cherry pick what bit of franchises they want. So what's your opinion on them as well then, Aaron? The Super Sevens or
they're a bit. It's a bit. Sometimes you see them and go, "Really? Does someone really want a figure of this?" But then there's probably people out there that want them. But I like them, and if they did, I think I only have 2. I have a Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas, and again, that just fits into the collection. 2 sort of the main characters from the film. But I wouldn't go mad and be buying every single one of them. I saw the turtle ones. They actually look better. The carding, the actual artwork for the card, looked better than the figures. Although you say that, well, I do actually have. I've got 2 other reaction figures. I can get them out.
Dude, I'm trying.
Ones in there.
I'm changing my answer, man. I'm with you. I'm 100% on board. I've just realised I'm talking shit because I've got a low pan one. I've probably got about 5 or 6. So yeah, they're good. They're good.
I've got 2 Slayer, but then there was never a toy of that. Do you know what I mean? There was never a Slayer action figure.
I think they've been kind of, as you say, there's some of that also have been manufactured to be a collectible as well, aren't they? Again, like I know with some of the Funko Pops, if they get vaulted and don't get made again, they can go for silly money, and it's almost manufacturing your own kind of market and stuff like that. But as individual things, like I think I had the Alien one and I had the Scream one. Quick question from Retro Bear. It's not about Tony Hawk's Skateboarding. Question to both. Seeing as you collect toys, seeing as you collect toys inspired your youth, do you collect comics that you read back? Do you collect the comics you read back then? Either you into comics? I'm massively not. I went to a school that barely taught me how to fucking read. Is the main problem.
I sort of struggle with reading, and so I was never a fan of reading as such. But I've bought in some newer comic books. I tend to buy graphic novels because I really can't keep up to date every week buying a comic. I'd rather just wait and just buy a graphic novel, because then you got like 10 comics all in one then. But I was never that much into it. But then when I grew up, I had the 90s Spider-Man, the 90s X-Men. They're all cartoons on Saturday mornings, so I tended just to watch cartoons because I was lazy and didn't want to read.
We'll get on to cartoons in a bit because that's another little bit of subject we like to talk about here. So go on, Dan. What I think comics are, they make a lovely backdrop though. If you had each one like something for the back of your figures, like Power Rangers comics across the back, that'd look nice.
Yeah, I've got some. Like I said, I've got graphic novels down there, but the problem is, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, isn't it? Sort of comics, because where do you stop? Like, there's multiverses, there's different Earths, there's just, and then you'll read one that you like, say, I don't know, X-Men, and you're like, oh, I really like this arc, and then it finishes, and then someone else does an arc of X-Men, and you're like, oh, this ain't as good.
I
I've massively avoided comics. How about you, Dan? Then we'll let you have your say.
I still have, kind of like Aaron said, I've always more read graphic novels. So Preacher, and more recently The Boys, and lots of 2000 AD stuff. I have still got a lot of comics from my youth. A lot of them I need to look through and get rid of. I'll probably keep. If I've got a complete run of something, like Aaron says, I like to have something that's complete. So I've got things like original Punisher comics, like Warzone and that sort of stuff, as the individual comics. But I never really collected comics. Again, I didn't really have the money growing up. I used to try and get the graphic novel sort of compendiums and whatever. So Aliens, I've got a lot of original, the Aliens versus Predator, Aliens Genocide, Salvation. Then I went mad and had Aliens versus Terminator, and Predator versus Batman, and Predator versus Superman, and all that. So to answer that question very quickly, the answer is I read graphic novels, and always kind of have done, not really so much the comic book format. I guess they're the same thing.
I'd just like to say that I think the people in the comments have been reading very different weekly supplements.
But I'm
to razzle.
I'm gonna-
Quick question from Gurney. Who's your favourite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle? Why is it Michelangelo? I'm going to tell you mine after, because it's fucking definitely not Michelangelo.
Mine's Krang. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. Krang.
How about you, Aaron?
I don't really have a favourite.
No one likes Donatello. I'm going to throw that out there.
I don't know. Oh, see, this is where it's going to get awkward, because I actually quite like Donatello.
Say you didn't want to admit it because he knows no one likes Donatello.
But I'm not being funny. He's like, everyone else turns up to a fight with weapons, and he just turns up with a stick and still manages to take down foot soldiers left, right, and centre.
And he makes stuff. He's the maker, and Donatello. He's like the
He's basically the nerd. Yeah.
My favourite is Raphael because he has a very similar kind of temperament to me.
He's all attitude, isn't he?
Yeah, he takes no shit from no one. My good friend, Planet Retro, question to both. Do you have any video game related toys? So if you want to, Aaron, go first, just tell us what you got, and then Dan.
They're actually quite hard to find. The Star Wars figures, they are Darth Revan and Darth Malak from the Knights of the Old Republic Star Wars game.
Right.
So they're, again, I got a really sort of small area, so I can't actually grab them out. I'll turn it around there if you can. They're in that sort of case in there. But basically, they're just hard figures. Again, they just weren't, because they weren't popular mainstream characters. No one really bought them when they came out, and shops wouldn't buy them in because they were like, "Who the hell is this guy?" So it pushed the price up. But yeah, so pretty much them is all I can sort of see in the collection now. Oh, and I got loads of Halo figures as well from Halo.
Ooh. Some of them can be pricey as well now, can't they? Some of the Halo.
Yeah, especially the first seasons when a toy company doesn't exist anymore. Joyrider Studios made them. So
I was right at the beginning, man. Our two hobbies massively intertwined together for sure. So Dan, tell us some of what you got. Well, I show Aaron something that I've been meaning to give him for ages, I've just seen it. Have you got this, Aaron?
No.
It's yours. I'll sort it out for the next event. I've had this in my room for about a year and a half, meaning to give it to you. And every time I go to an event, I come back and see it and think, fuck, I'm not giving that to Aaron. So that'll be yours. I will sort that out for you 100%.
Thank you very much. I'm going to go right now. Thank you very much.
No worries.
I've got lots of different. My collection's quite all over the place. So I've got, and my missus has got lots of, loads of Sega and Nintendo based toys, like characters, whatever. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I've got a lot of some Street Fighter stuff, some toys, some Mortal Kombat toys. I tell you, I've got a hell of a lot of Resident Evil toys. I went on an absolute Resident Evil hype, and the Palisades figures. So I've got pretty much all of those and some 1/6 stuff. House of the Dead. Got some House of the Dead figures. They're pretty cool. Left 4 Dead. Got some Left 4 Dead figures.
Anything zombie based?
Basically, yeah. Well, you might not know this about me, Dana, but I have about 450 1/6 zombie figures, like custom made zombie figures. I'm trying to cut it down, but yeah, I went before it was cool. I might add, before zombies were cool, before The Walking Dead. There's a comic that I still read or read, The Walking Dead, right from the start. Gave up on the TV series though.
I remember my dad having Zombie Flesh Eaters on VHS when I was a
Yeah,
kid, which is obviously a classic.
great front cover. Great front cover on the VHS. It's got
the hand, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I watched a film the other day. It's the biggest pile of dog shit I've ever watched, but it's one of them. It's that bad you have to watch it. It's called Zombiesaurus. And the best thing about it, right? Honest to God, the best thing about the movie, if you don't want to watch it, go right to the end. There's a bit where it makes all the it's obviously this guy who's made this film. It's everyone he knows from down his fucking streets, in it. Like the muscly guy, he plays the Marine, but he makes them into comics. The best thing about the film is the outro when he turns them all into like comic book style. Looks fucking brilliant, and the song that goes out is brilliant. The rest of the film is utter dog shit.
Are you saying that he spaffed his budget right at the end, and they did the last bit first?
Yeah,
like, shit, we got to make a film now.
Honest to God, right? There's this one scene where it looks like fucking Steven Spielberg's abortion from fucking Jurassic Park 1 is the T-Rex or zombie Rex thing, right? It's fucking awful. It eats this woman. Well, it doesn't even eat this woman. You clearly see she's just ripped a puffer jacket open and covered in the fakest blood you've ever seen. The film is awful, but as you say, he's got to the end and he's gone, fucking hell, we had a budget of 300,000 here and I've only spent 1,000. Let's put it all into the outro. But seriously, the outro is brilliant. Brilliant. It's the best thing about the film. I've got another couple of questions for you guys. One was asked ages ago by Planet Retro, and he's probably assuming I forgot it. What's your best find at the boot sale? Because obviously us gaming and toy hunters like to know what was found. So Aaron first, then Dan.
Best find. I always come back to it because it's quite it's a more of a recent one. It was from last year's summer, and I always bring it up. Probably Dan's probably fed up with it, Andy's probably fed up with it. But it's back to the wrestling. It was a Adam Bomb wrestling figure.
I saw that one. I actually liked Adam Bomb as well. I thought he was cool as a wrestler.
It doesn't come on much. I think it's probably only what you would say about £60 figure.
In the condition, yeah, just because the action was busted.
And that was normal because the condition it was in. Obviously, if it was in better condition, it would go up. But it was just the fact that it was late in the car boot as well. This was, obviously car boot sales, everyone's set up in their lines, in their rows. This was on like a lady's stall that they sort of stuck on the side. She'd obviously only been there for like not very long because she definitely wasn't there on that first walk round we did.
No.
So it was quite late on in car boot ways, and we just came up there. I saw the wrestling ring. So I sort of darted over there, and it was like the wrestling ring in a plastic bag with loads and loads of wrestlers. And yeah, I paid £5 for the lot. There was about 10 wrestlers in there, including Adam Bomb, the ring, the working electronic soundboard.
A couple of Ghostbusters figures.
Ghostbusters figures. There was a few other random stuff. So yeah, that was probably the best one.
Yeah, I'll agree on that. That is a very nice find. So how about you then, Dan?
Oh man, again with these guys, too much stuff that I think's amazing that maybe isn't worth anything, or stuff that's worth something. That's like, I bought a box of Lego for £5, which means nothing to me, but it had about 250 quid's worth of Lego in it. But my favourite find is I was wandering around, these guys weren't there, and I bought a vintage Rancor for £1. I love Rancors, so I was well happy with that. And a vintage Star Wars Rancor for £1, and I gave him 50p extra because he only wanted 50p for it.
Fair
That's
play.
nice, isn't it?
Yeah, well, sometimes I just can't be asked. We're waiting for the change. Quite a serious question because you won't know Pete. Pete's Snestastic here. He's been a collector for many years, and he's sold his collection. He's bought it back again. Obviously, sometimes the whole collecting hobby has got on him, and I guess he's kind of asking the same question. Have either of you guys ever had any mental anguish about collecting your toys, sort of thing? So has it got on top of you, sort of thing? So if Aaron wants to go first, because I think we all like to admit we're in control, but we not always are. That's for sure.
I call it toy money and real money. So I have a little budget each month for what I buy sort of newbie sort of stuff with from my wages, but mostly everything comes from just dealing toys. So get the toys, sell it on, make a bit of profit. A bit of profit goes into funding the collection. So really, it doesn't, as much as it looks like, oh my God, you've got so much stuff. actually the money it's not real money. The money generated is not from me going to work Monday to Friday. So in that sense, no, I don't have to, I haven't worried about it money wise, but space wise, and there's been a few times I've looked at it thinking I've probably got a nice holiday's worth of stuff here, and the memories from a holiday and stuff could probably go down a lot better than some plastic sitting on the shelf. But yeah, my only issue from toy collecting comes almost from other toy collectors, and the way some of them act and stuff, especially toy fairs. You've probably seen it as well. So sometimes I just sit there and go, they are bits of plastic. Like, relax, like calm down a little bit about it, but yeah, I think that's it. And when people try and be like, give it sort of all the like sort of the bigging about it, like when you're at a toy fair and someone mentions like, oh, been here like half an hour and already made 500 quid. It's like, don't care.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Have you spoken to anyone? Have you like talked to anyone? And someone sit there and gone, oh, I've been looking for this for ages. Like I had this as a kid and couldn't find it. And oh yeah, like no, you haven't. You just turned up for money and like no one really cares.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
What I will say is, like, much like I act the same way selling toys as I do video games. I don't just like some people like will just want to give you the money and go. But if someone wants to stand and have a conversation with me, I almost will ignore someone who's waiting to buy to finish my conversation. I don't like being in, you know. And the perfect example at the NEC, there was a young lad there who I'd seen the day before selling at Milton Keynes. He'd come back up again with his dad obviously collected toys, but he was like video games. So he came from a video games thing to a toy thing. And he must have spent 2-3 hours at my store going through all my Pokemon cards, every single one. I was giving him stuff for free and all that. And I let him come around the side of my store so I could see other people were just being rude and trying to look at stuff. And I was just thinking, he's a little kid, man. Just let him be. And I will always treat people nicely and respectfully. But I don't like it when I'm setting up, and it's worse at a toy fair than it is a games fair, that people start looking through my shit. I don't know if it's because I've got the see-through tubs at the toy fair and I don't have at the gaming ones, but they'll start rummaging through before I'm even setting up. And I'm like, especially with toys, they're easier to like for someone to just slide one in their pocket and stuff like that. I'm like, can't you just fucking let me set up for 5 minutes sort of thing? That's my only grievance with that sort of thing. But same question to Dan. Has your collection ever gone on top of you mentally sort of thing, I guess?
Yeah, at the risk of turning this into an episode of like Dr. Phil or something, I'd like stop me if I'm getting too I don't want to get too existential with it, but yeah, I mean, I have existing conditions of that nature, and yeah, sometimes it's overwhelming. I have an urge to buy things that I know I don't need, but I can't. My mind won't settle until I have them. Then I have them and realize I don't need them and I don't want them. And on it goes. I'm surrounded by stuff that I don't need, and it's obviously trying to plug various holes in the soul with plastic, with things, but things won't help that. So yeah, absolutely. I get super stressed about not owning things, which is ridiculous, and I know it's ridiculous. And I get super stressed about owning things. So I want everything, and then Aaron will tell you, I'm either telling them like, man, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that, and the next day I'm like, right, it's all going, everything's going, sell everything, give it away, throw it in the bin. I don't want it. I don't want to be surrounded by it. What am I going to do with all this stuff? What would happen, guys, if something happened to me? What would happen to my stuff? I don't want to leave that burden with someone, so best melt it into a big cube now and throw it in the sea. No, wait a minute. I enjoy looking at it, and on. So yeah, I love it. I love the social side of it. I love meeting people and talking toys and finding stuff, and I wouldn't change that. But I am trying to get better with separating what I really, really do want to buy and stuff. I mean, I without even so I have a sideshow setup of like Jabba the Hutt. So it's Jabba's throne room, Jabba, and various other figures. It's probably about $2,000 worth of figures. The day that I got that, as in finished it, I didn't look at it for about 5 years, and that was kind of the story of my early collecting. Was like, gotta have that. That's the best. Gotta have that. Okay, relax. You've got it. what's next? What's next? And then you look at it and realize I don't need any of that. So I'm trying to cut it down to things I actually get some level of pleasure from looking at, and a bit more order. So yeah, sorry, the long-winded answer is yes. It stresses me. It stresses me out, but it's on me. It's not on the hobby. If you know what I mean.
What I'd say is I've had Pete on this SNEStastic on this stream earlier, and he pretty much went to the same sort of thing where he was buying, he wanted to get this, and then circumstance changed, he wanted to get rid of it all. And he's not the only collector who's doing that, and sometimes collections evolves and all that. So whatever hobby you're in, I think there's always some people who will feel that way, like, you know, and some of us are even weird enough not to be able to admit it to ourselves. So the fact you can admit it to yourself is a massive positive.
You know, when you sort of it's the same as I used to be. Well, I am to a certain degree, but very much about music. Is you love something so much it can ruin your life. Like I care about this so much that it's a problem, and then you realize not everyone cares about it, and that's fine to the same level that you do. So and that's fine. So ease back. It's all right. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. Yeah, so it is hard, and I think it maybe identifies or certainly indicates other issues which you're either aware of or you're not, or maybe you get to. But it's hard because I think you can get obsessed over anything. Collections can turn to kind of obsessions quite quickly, I think.
The age-old question, isn't it? When does a collection become? When does a collector become a hoarder?
We've already answered this, mate. We've already answered this. If it's in a detolf, it's a collection. If it's lying around on the floor, you got a problem. Yeah.
Quick one. There's a guy who does videos on YouTube. He's a gamer. His name's Wooly Weeble, and his little feature is he has a Weeble figure in the corner when he shows his pickups. He actually doesn't talk or appear on camera. He does his whole pickups using little post-it notes. So he wants to know, I bet neither of you collect Weebles, which I'm guessing you're both, even you, Dan, like myself, is a little bit too young for Weebles.
Is it the Weebles wobble but they don't fall down?
That's the ones.
I have had one at some point, but no, I do not collect them. I'm sure I had one, or I was handed one down at an early age.
I'm sure we can try and start a trend somewhere.
Weebles.
Maybe
Weebles.
Maybe that's the next Funko Pop. Little Weebles with like Thor and characters on them that won't fall over. And
yeah.
There you go. There's the next thing that's going to be on everyone's collection.
Next question again is from Eddie Roller X Core. What's the most you have spent on one toy? So obviously, don't shout it too loud, Dan, just in case anyone's listening.
Oh no, she spent more than me. Don't worry about that. On one toy, on one single thing.
Yeah, like so it could be like a play set, or it could be a vehicle, or it could just be an action figure.
I've spent £500-600 multiple times on individual things, like kind of thing. What sort of I've spent more on probably statues. I've got like statues as well, so collectibles but not toys. Let's just say 500 quid or thereabouts on my Cloverfield toy, which is one of my favourite toys that I own. Yeah,
nice one. So how about you, Aaron? I know you was looking around. You're trying to tot up and look for the item.
I think we are looking probably towards 100 quid on one thing. It's probably the most I've spent. I did actually say a story. I think it was I got into a bidding war on eBay for something, and whoever the other person was, it kept going up and up and up and up, and it did get to, I think I ducked out at about 160, because you just had that kind of moment when you're on the eBay, just like, yeah, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and then it was like, what am I doing? That's 160 quid. That's probably only worth 160 quid to me and this other bloke. Do you know what I mean?
Did you find it for 20p at the car boot the following Saturday?
No, you'll never find it.
Worst thing to do is get involved in a bidding war. Again, another question from Pete SNEStastic. Are the level to toy collectors? So basically, loose toys, sealed toys, or care about condition or not asked. I know in the gaming world, I'll give you an example. Some people are not obsessed. I don't like using the word obsessed, but they want stuff complete, mint condition. Like I collect Super Nintendo. And if I just get the carts, because they used to come in cardboard boxes, I'm okay with that. Whereas I know other people want it box complete, mint with a manual. And, you know, there's no right or wrong, but is that obviously is that same sort of level in the toy collecting industry?
100%. Like, if Andy was in the chat now, Andy's a pure Lucy collector. He likes all his stuff loose. Right or wrong, it's up to you to decide it. I've got my own opinions, but he's even opens old vintage stuff because he wanted it loose. But then it's his money. He spent the money on the thing, or whatever it was, so it's his choice to do it. Here we have a few comments. But yeah, so I'm sort of in between. I like loose and open stuff, but I wouldn't necessarily open old stuff to get it. I'll just wait and find it. It doesn't have to be minty to be a loose figure on my shelf. But then there's other things. There's like this Star Wars set here. Oh, there's too much glare there. Almost the figures loose on their own, especially these two. They can get up to like 50. Like the set will cost you about £100. I didn't pay £100 for the set, but these figures alone could get you near enough 50, 60 quid each. Depends on like the person, because that's the only set you could buy them in. So it's really weird. Like sometimes a boxed figure can be worth a certain amount, but actually, when it's a box set like this, one figure in it, because it was the only time you could get it.
What I'll say from finding because like when I first turned up at the NEC, nearly 90% of what I was selling was loose, and I thought, and I walk in the NEC and you see everyone with all the big displays with all the carded stuff, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to fucking sell anything here because I've only got all this loose shit. But what I understand is that a lot of toy collectors like yourselves want to be able to display it, and it doesn't display as good in a card box as it does there on the shelf. I mean, yeah. I'm like you, Aaron. If I find a game box Super Nintendo, I'll buy it. If I find it loose cart, I'll buy it. I can take it or leave it either way, if you know what I mean. But Dan, just your opinion on it as well, mate.
Well, same as you guys. I collect loose and on card, but mainly loose. I like loose and played with. I like certain toys to have a little bit of history to them. If they're from the 80s, I quite like them to look like they're from the 80s to a certain degree. So I like loose. Some people will only buy on card. Some people will only buy in box. Some people will only buy certain conditions. I mean, I've seen people buy. What was it? It was at NEC. I was telling you. Was it you, Aaron? I think someone bought a vintage Star Wars toy that was in its original box, which was factory sealed and was in its original brown shipper. Thousands, like 2.5, 3 grand was being transferred for something that was in a shipper box, which was never going to be opened. That's what some people collect. Some people like the artwork and the box and the condition of the box, and then they get it graded and then they get it boxed up. So you've got a carded whatever that's in a plastic case, and that's cool. And that's a different kind of collecting. I guess to what I'm personally into. I like things to have a little bit of life, or as the toy world says, let them breathe, get them out.
Let them breathe, baby. Let them breathe.
Let them breathe.
I'm a massive, like, because sealed games is a huge thing in the gaming community, or even worse, these graded games. Like, so you know, you guys grade figures. Someone will buy a boxed game and have it graded. So I wonder what that red was on me. I'm massively against that, because I think at some point everything should be able to be played if it's wanting to be played. Like if I was to receive a sealed game, I'd be fucking opening it and playing it. That's the way I feel. I get it can be kind of different with toys, because, you know, like, although you're devaluing a game, I want to know the game fucking works for a start, because if not, it's just a dead piece of plastic. Whereas with a toy, you can see it's all there if it's sealed as well.
Well, like you say, also depends on the displayability. If it was a see-through like clamshell, then you could display it. But if it's in a box with a front on it, then it might as well not be in the box, you know. For me,
agreed. Like that Thunder Tank, that's a beautiful box. But all you're looking at is the art. You're not actually looking at what is, I think, one of the best made vehicles, certainly of its era.
Only if it's got tracks, mate. Only if it's got tracks.
Mine's got tracks, you know it, as you've seen.
Mine hasn't. That's why I mentioned it.
Another question from your friend, Ed's Retro Geeko. What do you guys like most about collecting? Is it the playing of the games, or doing the research? do you enjoy the toy once you have it? So that's a question to you guys. I'd ignore the game bit mainly, or I guess playing with the toys, I guess he means there, or enjoying it once you have it. So what do you enjoy the most really first?
I'll go first on this one. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not much of a game collector, but a lot of the sort of the older games, I won't call them retro, but like the PlayStation and the Xbox games I've got are games that I've gone to the boot sale and I've been like, oh my god, I remember playing this. And how much is it? 50p, love. I'll have it just to, for the sake of 50p, I'll try it out and play, and if it don't work, just throw it away, sort of thing. But so yeah, it has to be playable to me. It kind of I don't know.
But what's your favourite bit about collecting? That's what you say in the first one. What do you like most about collecting, Aaron? Like, what do you like most about having a collection or being a collector?
The thing I love most about it is probably no matter what if you're in the community, no matter what you collect, you've got a common ground to talk to people on. Like I've said to people, like I'm not a massive He-Man toy collector, not a massive fan of the toys themselves. But when someone's sitting there telling me how they found this like figure to complete their collection, it's like I dig it because I know what that feels like because I know I want to do it to my stuff. So I do enjoy that. So I enjoy talking about it all, and it's a bit of it's a bit odd to be a toy collector, same as a game collector. Like you're almost it's cool to be in this kind of small community of people, but everyone just enjoys it for what it is.
There's a phrase we use, not just as collectors, but also as YouTubers. The reason we got into YouTube and for collecting is to meet like-minded people. And same as like, we're obviously naive to each other's hobby. Like, I'm into certain games and I can appreciate other people. Like, I don't collect for the Amiga. I don't collect for the Xbox. I don't collect for the Wii, but I appreciate other people who do. And like, although I take the piss, because I imagine there's that sort of banter between any sort of collecting, what you're collecting that shit for sort of thing. It's the banter, but it's also knowing that you have that common ground that, we all have that love for video games or we all have that love for toys sort of thing. So that would be something I would say. Same question over to Dan, really.
Yeah, similar vibe. I like the social side of it, of people, all out looking for stuff. I enjoy, the car boots and the fairs and finding things. As far as, collecting, I enjoy owning certain things, maybe things that I didn't have when I was younger, maybe things that have only just come out that I enjoy looking at, so as far as enjoying the things that I collect, I like to try and display them as best I can, to look at them. I don't know, it's quite a weird question. It's made me think. Is it about crushing my toy enemies and hearing the lamentations of their women? Is that what I like the most about it? I don't know. I don't know. Have you just discovered? Is this just a habit to me? Is this just a terrible habit? I'm finding a lot out about myself here, guys. This isn't good. I enjoy the social side of it, and I really enjoy being taken back. I enjoy seeing toys that I didn't know exist, especially from back in the day. Some real
or even better, ones you forgot existed, ones you'd forgot. Like, because I will, like, especially when I watch you guys, like Aaron, when Aaron does pickups, or when I'm just walking around the NEC, I'll see a toy that I forgot that I had, and it'll instantly bring back some sort of memory of that toy. And I have the same with games as well. So, like you say, like it's finding the unknown sort of thing, or rediscovering the unknown. Quick question: where's it from? It's from my mate, the Gaming Viking. Question both: do you collect board games, and if so, which is your favorite? See, where does board games fall in? Is that almost like its own sub collection alone? Because I know some board games do sell well at the toy events. So,
I think people who say collect Ghostbusters, for example. There's a couple of Ghostbuster board games, so they pick it up for their collections. I'm not massively into it. I know one of my brother's friend, he's really into his board games. He buys even gets the like the Rebels Assault Star Wars board games, like the ones you got. It's almost kind of like Warhammer style figures.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
You paint up and everything. He's into that, and I think people are just into what they're into, aren't they? But to me personally, I don't have any board games in my collection apart from I think I've got the Chase downstairs. I think I've got Monopoly, Trivial Pursuit. The family Christmas board games are in the cupboard
the
downstairs.
family Christmas spoilers.
Yeah. Nothing says Christmas after having an argument over bankrupting your nephew at Monopoly.
Brilliant. How about you, Dan? Like,
yeah, I used to play like Warhammer, Games Workshop-y type stuff. Certainly, I enjoy them. I love a board game. I don't really collect them. Like Aaron says, a lot of people in our kind of toy world will collect games that are related to the thing that they collect as more merchandise. But if I had to pick two favorite board games that we do currently own and still actively play, one is called Escape from Atlantis. It's the best, honestly, it's the best board game.
Someone mentioned that in the comments, I think.
Escape from Atlantis, really? Oh, it's the business. And also an old...
Yeah.
Oh,
Eddie
bang! That man knows. That man knows. You get to spin the spinner. Is it going to be an octopus? Is it going to be a safe dolphin? It's the best game. And there's a Citadel miniatures game that I love called Dungeon Quest. Everyone loves Hero Quest. Everyone loves Space Crusade. Everyone like the classics. Dungeon Quest. If you know, you're gonna be going, that's a sick game. Build your own little tile maps. Don't wake the dragon. They know. I'm telling you, it's the one.
Tootie says more of a statement rather than a question. But I'll bring it up. Do you call the competition at the boot sales lizards? That's something that we in the gaming, I call them vultures. Stu calls them lizards. You know, it's more the reseller guys than the friendly competition. The people who I see who are actually hobbyists after games. But you know, the guys who sweep up everything just to purely fucking stick it on their boot sale store 10 yards down for twice as much. Stu refers to them as lizards. So do you have any names for them?
My missus is over there. She heard your question. She's like, we call them cretins. We don't. We call them scalpers, dear.
How about you, Aaron? Any names? Or you seem to
I think lizards is I think I've used that term a few times. Probably picked it up from watching Stu's videos.
Yeah.
I think I call them more for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It's like you come down an aisle and you see one of them, and you fuck's sake, walking away with their 2 blue IKEA bags full of stuff. But for some reason, like I think personally, like I'm very. I guess it's the same with other people. Like you like your patch, you like your hunting ground. So I'm very reluctant to say where I go because I'm quite lucky. There's about 4 or 5 car boots in like a half an hour drive of where I live, and 2 are on a Saturday. Like 2 are Saturday ones, Sunday ones. So you can hunt both days of the weekend, which is very, very lucky. But it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's like I think we are very niche in collecting toys in our area, especially the hard to find the toys. Like everyone will go around picking Star Wars up. Yeah. Everyone will go around picking Lego up. So if I see someone walking around, like I think there was one time someone who a lizard, a vulture, for fuck's sake, a cretin. Knowing them at the car boot, they were at this stall and they were like, "Oh, look, mate, I got some Star Wars figures before you got there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I looked down and I was like, "Okay, no worries." So I just pick up the complete Ghostbuster figures with backpacks and ghosts and everything. And I was like, "Yeah, no worries, mate. You grab those Star Wars figures." And do you know what I mean? And
yeah. The ones that are at my boot sales, there's that many of them. I give them now individual names, like there's Swampy, who looks like he hasn't had a wash. There's the Stinkies, who look like they haven't had a wash because they wear. If I went to a car boot 5 out of the 7 days a week, which I could do around here, they will be wearing the same clothes. Jules will have his big black coat on with his combat trousers. His missus, what the fuck's his missus? I don't know. I ain't seen her for ages. She'll have her blue fleece on with her light brown trousers. Every day they wear these fucking clothes. But they like all have nicknames now. I give them personal nicknames that they don't fucking know about.
We got a few of them. Aaron, do you not remember Shoe Man?
IKEA bag.
IKEA bag shoe man, yeah, and I sing shoe man at him in the tune of Soundgarden's Spoon Man, and I crack myself up every time when I do that.
But
We
the
have
one
sorry, go on.
woman from the Stinkies, right? She was going through this box of toys, picking out all the figures that were complete. Threw the box back on the floor, thought it was like all just broken bits. I picked it up. I said, "How much for the box, mate?" He goes, "Oh, you can't have it for £5." It was full of all the fucking weapons. And she actually goes to me. She goes, "Oh, what have you bought that for?" I said, "Because all these weapons are worth 3 times as fucking much as them figures, you dumb fuck." But yeah, they're really bad. But I mean, they dive in the boots, which is something I won't do. I won't be diving in this one's boot. I like to have a little bit of decorum, like, and it's always nice when you get one up. But it's the same with gaming. Like, everyone has that limited knowledge. Like, they know if they see Mega Drive, there's money. They know if they see SNES, there's probably a bit of money. But then you'll come and fucking, there'll be this line on the floor, a GX4000 game, which they have no clue about. Which, not this one particularly, but the 2 I picked up are worth 3 times than the common fucking NES game that they just picked up, because they've only got a limit of knowledge. Like, I buy a lot of Spectrum and 8-bit computer games, the cassette tapes, because everyone at the boot sale turns their nose up here. But I make just as much selling them as I do any other stuff. And the truth is now, at the boot sale, is everyone has knowledge in their hand, don't they, as well? Some people with the phone now, it's made it less of a competition.
Dana, do you have names for repeat sellers as well as the kind of people that walk around? Because we got one called she's called Crazy Lady. It's not the most original title we've ever given someone, but she has loads of toys and figures and stuff. They're all battered, but she is outraged if you try and buy one. Outraged that you're trying to spend your money. I mean, she's the Crazy Lady. There's no doubt about it.
There is one that I just refer to as Old Cun.
Yes. Oh, you seen that thing? Oh, what stall's it on? It's Old Cunt stall. Nah, leave it.
And then there's one. There's a guy. He goes to the one that Stu goes to as well, and some of the others, Darth Steve and all that. But he's from Birmingham way, and I call him Two Bags. He's a Cockney geezer, right? He talks like this, and he keeps trying to sell me. He keeps trying to sell me the fucking. He goes, "I've got a container full of stuff, Dane. You gotta buy it. 2 bags to you, mate. 2 bags. You've not seen snazzies like it." And fucking, I just call him 2 bags now because he constantly tried to sell me stuff. And we'll be walking around, because you know when you're walking at the booty, you're looking down at the store. You're not looking whose store it is. And then you'll look up, and I'll go to my mate Liam, who's always with me. I'll go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, it's 2 bags." And then I just fucking walk off.
We got some.
You have it so much that when you go to the boot sale and you're walking down, you don't need to actually look up to know whose stalls they are.
Oh, some people. There was this one guy who was consistently, for 3 years, had the same action figure on his stall. It was an Action Man figure that obviously his mum or someone had knitted a Wolverhampton Wanderers kit for. So I fucking knew. I'd walk past, I'd see that, and I knew I needed to look at nothing else on that store, because he had the same stock for 3 fucking years.
Going back to our weekend favourite, Crazy Lady, she actually goes around buying like first.
Yeah.
And it's the same old story. It's always for the grandkids. And the thing is, though, is that it's quite funny, because you know what time of day it is from the screams and the shouting. You're like, Crazy Lady setting her stall up, because she never sets it up for the early bird people. She always sets up about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And her husband is a broken man. Like,
yeah. That's not her husband, dude. That's 100% not her husband. I think she keeps him in some sort of sex dungeon or something. It's weird.
Is it the
he just looks? He's just like, she's just going mad at people, and he's just there like putting the toys out, like, she goes again.
We've seen some right tear-ups, haven't we, of people that have gone by and been like, "Don't bath this woman. I sold her that for £1 and she's selling it for £10. Oh, it's brilliant. Love it. It's the best. I miss it. I miss it.
She hates me.
She hates you, yeah.
She hates me.
There's certain things me and my mate said as well. If you wrote a little bingo list, you could tick off at a boot sale. Like, if you spot a Singer sewing machine, tick.
Yeah.
Here's someone starting up a chainsaw. That's a fucking tick, right?
And not Nick's chainsaw. That's definitely not had the barcode scrubbed off the back of it.
Yeah. And what's the other one? Me and my mate say, "Oh, if you every time you hear someone say it's this much on eBay. That is the fucking one thing. You know, it's going for this much on eBay. Fucking sell it on eBay then.
We're not on eBay. We're in a field, mate, and you've got a dog on a fucking string. So
yeah. There was a question. I'm just going to scroll back up to it. We as gamers, not all of us, but some of us collect toys as well. Do you guys collect anything else? So to Aaron first.
Do I collect anything? I've collecting wise probably not. Like I say, I've got some games, but they're nothing special. Like they're just games that I remember from a kid and stuff. The only thing I tend to collect that's outside of it's not as bad as the stamp collection, but
Fucking hell. Did you watch that?
I've got tickets from everything I've gone to. So whether it's a gig, the football games I go to, all my season tickets once they've used. If I go and see a show or something or whatever, I keep the ticket. If I go to a museum, if I go to the like if I go on holiday and I've gone to somewhere on holiday, I keep the admission ticket. So I've got this big like folder about that, like that thick full of just tickets of stuff I've been to, just to look back at it and go, oh yeah, I remember that.
That's quite cool. That's more a memory lane sort of thing in it.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I actually outrightly collect and make sure I keep and document in a wallet.
How about you, Dan? I've seen a little glimpse of your house. There is other collections. They're not yours, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, nothing to. I mean, we collectively, me and Hannah have a lot of video games and consoles, but that's really her bag as far as consoles. So I'm sorry to use over there. Like we collect video games, but not in the same way but probably you collect video games that you might have the ones you like to play, but you've also got the ones that are rare. You know, like as we buy them. Well,
we've got shit we call shelf filler or fodder. You know, it's games we're never going to ever play.
Right.
They're filling up a space, which for people who are going for full sets, they're massively important. I mean, I'd probably look at mine. I'm not going to play a lot of them, but they're almost not worth getting rid of as well. I guess it's like I'm a bit like you. I find a lot at the boot sale, so it's worth pence to me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a lot of consoles. Is what. Yeah, my gaming collection is essentially my old PlayStation games, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, a few NES games, being Double Dragon and Ikari Warriors, the only two games I enjoy playing, and a couple. We got a Jaguar, didn't we? And we've got like Aliens vs Predator and Cannon Fodder.
You've got a Jaguar. I haven't even got a Jaguar.
Oh man! Again, you want to speak to Hannah? She's got Lynxes, Jaguars, Game Gears, Game Cubes, N64s, Spectrums, Commodore Amigas, Atari STs, everything in between. Thousands and thousands of.
My game is what I've collected since I was a
But yeah,
child.
but she's been collecting that since she was a kid, as opposed to kind of starting something. Dana, can I ask you a computer game related question?
Of course you can, mate.
Do you know if it is true that somewhere in the desert there is a big pit full of ET games for the Super Nintendo?
Yes, it is. They actually did a documentary where they dug it up. I think what it was is it was when Atari. I don't know if they were going insolvent or what, and it became not cost effective to fucking. It's not just ET. It's
right.
Basically all their dead bankrupt stuff. Bankrupt stock. Not Atari. It is Atari, isn't it? I'm sure it's Atari, or it might have been whoever produced the games.
Definitely sure. It was definitely something to do with ET.
Yeah, ET was because what it was is they made fucking loads of copies, never sold them. The big gaming market crashed in America, which didn't happen here in Europe, despite what everyone hears. It was only in America, and it became not cost effective to store and not be able to sell these things. So it just all got basically put into a big, massive landfill. There is a documentary about it. If I find it,
Hannah shouted at me, I'm a dipshit, because there is a documentary and she told me about it ages ago and I should have watched it. So apologies. she knew all about it. But yeah, thank you for answering that question. It's something I've often wondered. Was that just one of those legends, or did it actually happen? But yeah.
No, it did. Also, no one's asked in the comments, but I'm asking, Hannah, please make at least one YouTube video or do something of your collection. In fact, Dan as well. Come and step over to YouTube and share your collection with everyone. Because we're all voyeurs and we like to see that sort of thing.
She's probably got some actually impressive stuff. You've got like Japanese limited version, like the consoles.
I did a lot of import
a lot of importing stuff from a kind
A
of
lot of us are into imports, including myself. I've got PC Engine, Famicom. I've got some stuff in repair at the moment.
Oh, that must have been impressive because she just went, "Oh," and I don't know what it is, but
We'll get Vic involved in this as well because she's a massive gamer.
yeah.
Oh, right. I reckon, Dan, personally, I think you have the personality to do a great YouTube channel anyway. I'm sure Aaron will agree. And it's a great way, again, of extending your network to people you know. But yeah, I've got a twin Famicom that's currently in repair because the disk drive's not working. A good friend of mine, Simon Lock's repairing it at the moment. As voyeurs of collections, it's massively appreciated to be shared, or even if you just put it on your Instagram, some of your pictures of the games and that, because I'm hoping some of these guys who are watching tonight are going to go over to Mr. Danplastic's Instagram and have a look at what he shares on there massively. We do this thing on this stream as well when we want to ask a question and they put Dan, do a channel, put hit one, and people will hit one in the comments, and there's a fair few people hit one.
My problem, mate, as Aaron will testified to, is I'm borderline. Like, I mean, I am desperately poor at technology, which is hilarious if you know what my actual job is. So I'd have to get Hannah to set it all up for me. But I'm sure I'll speak to her because it does seem we have probably 20 crates in my loft that are full of gaming tech, of consoles and accessories and stuff. So it'd be nice to get it down and actually maybe even remind us what we've actually got.
Not just gaming, like also share your toy collection with people in the toy collecting world, because I think Aaron and only a few, I don't really know many UK toy channels. I know is it Bubsy's Toy Box?
Yeah,
Pizarro. But I don't really know many. It's obvious, but like it's always good. I mean, recently during lockdown, we've had about 5 or 6 new gaming channels. We always welcome into the community, and it's just that little extra bit of the hobby that makes it fun, because we all like sharing what we collect and stuff like that. So I just personally, on my own note, I think you should make that step. I mean, if Andy can do it, fucking anyone can. I'm only saying that because I know he's still in the comments, and I think he wrote a question. I'm going to try and find.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
It's just us.
yeah. It's the wrong people.
We've taken over. It's our channel now.
Every night. Don't worry, I'll do it every fucking night when I'm scrolling for a question.
I was just about to talk about the only game that I care about, being Donkey Kong Country. But oh well.
No, carry on. I'm gonna answer Andy's question first. What's the worst game that I own? This bag of shit.
What's that?
Rise of the Robots. Bag of wank. Worst game ever fucking made. And about 4 years ago, when I first started YouTube, there's a channel called the Retro Heads, and they basically said pick 3 random games to play. So I closed my eyes, reached around the shelves, and picked one off. This was one of them, which is a shit game. And another one was a really bad Mega Drive game. It was all around an awful experience for me. But yeah, that's...
Dana, have you heard of a game called Jambo Safari?
No, I haven't.
Okay, it's a game. Was it the last one that you worked on? It's one of the games that Hannah worked on, and it was an absolute failure because the marketing was so bad, and apparently it's terrible. We have hundreds of copies, so at some point I'll get you to give that a go and let me know if it's worse than Rise of the Robots.
What did she work on that on then? Because she was working for Sega, wasn't she? You said
that when you was at Sega. That was at Sega. Yeah, that was at Sega. Yeah.
So what system was that on, Hannah? Just quickly, because
that was on the Wii. That was a later one. It was on the Wii.
On the Wii. So someone like the Retro Bear, who's a big Wii collector, might want to know about that.
Jambo Safari.
I'm just going to ask quickly before we get back over to you guys. How long were you at Sega for, Hannah?
4 years at Sega, and then you went to what, Green Man, or were you at EA as well? Then she was at Climax, then at EA, then at Green Man. She's been around, mate. She's been around.
And then it's just purely for the interest of the people who are here in the comments. Retro Bear, I've got Jambo Safari. So
yeah, yes. There you go.
There you go.
That's the other person that bought it, Hannah.
And shot Sega Zombie. In fact, Dan, if there's a channel for you to subscribe to, and you're a big zombie fan, Scott Sega Zombie, his arm is covered in zombie tattoos, and obviously that's what his name is. He's a big zombie zombie fan himself. So I think that's all the questions. What I want to do is, because we're close to the 2 hours now, is personally thank you both for jumping into the unknown and stepping onto a gaming stream. I'd personally like everyone in the comments, if you've appreciated a different talk tonight, to put the clapping emoji for a star, because I kind of got the hint that everyone wanted to listen to a bit of toy talk. We've talked briefly about toys, so I thought I'd bring the people watching something to see. So if we can show our appreciation for Aaron and Dan for, as I say, stepping into the unknown and coming onto my stream, and I want to thank you both as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it for sure.
Just
Well,
before we go,
thank you.
I actually had a question as well, and I
Go
hope
on.
there's obviously a lot of gaming people in their comments. I mean, it's probably been mentioned many of the times. And what are your feelings on CEX and retro games?
Oh man, me personally,
Because
it's good and bad. Right, what it has done, and it will have upset some people, is it's made the more expensive games more available. But as someone who doesn't own all those more expensive games, it's very good. I can also use my boot sale finds to fund it with the voucher exchange. That's very good. The experience can be very different, varying from store to store. Is the problem. But as a whole, I think CX has helped a lot of people complete their collection. And currently, they're giving you a shitload of money for Wii's, which I would. Which I would
bucket of Wii's we've got in the garage. There we go. And I guess make some money.
Seriously, I think they're giving you up to 60 quid trading, whereas before you weren't getting £15. Because what's happened is everyone in lockdown has had this fucking brainwave. I can't go out to exercise, so you know what? I'll use that superb fitness machine, which is the Nintendo Wii.
The Wii Fit.
I did see a meme of someone saying, just looked into my Wii Fit. It was like, you've been like 2,563 days since you last logged on or something.
Yeah, but yeah, it has gone through the roof. But yeah, CEX it's a massive tool. They do actually trade in Warhammer stuff. If ever you guys need to shift Warhammer stuff, they're taking in the board games, not giving bad trading either on some of the stuff. A Wii Fit board now is apparently up to 40 quid. You were getting 80 quid trading. So if you've got
Hannah said, if they're going to do a Wii Fit board, why would they not just play Super Monkey Ball? Does that mean anything to you?
Super Monkey Ball is a brilliant game, and it's one of the.
You're the monkey in the ball, and you have to go like down the.
Aaron, just say out loud what the name of the game is again.
Super Monkey Ball bag.
Super Monkey Ball. Is it the game where you're the monkey in the ball? What do you think the fucking answer is? Yeah, it's a very good game.
You're not Donkey Kong, mate. I'm just throwing it out there.
What did you say then, Dan?
Say that again, Dan.
I said you're not a donkey in Donkey Kong, so it could be some crazy Japanese mistranslation.
He says you're not a donkey in Donkey Kong,
but it is a monkey in Monkey Ball. So.
Yeah, 100%. But
next thing you're going to tell me, like, what's it saying? Like Mario was in Donkey Kong. Like, stop.
But again, guys, thank you both for being on, man. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've had a good time. Brilliant. You've been superb. My guests have put a load of clapping emojis. I've really enjoyed the talk. The way I like to finish these streams is just a message from each one of you to the people who are watching, like the old fucking stay safe, wash your hands, you dirty bastards, whatever. So, Aaron, if you want to go first.
Dang, it's time to think of this. Get figgy with it.
he's literally stolen my tagline. Unbelievable.
So Dan.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with it. Apologies if it was a bit rambly. Keep buying toys, keep playing games.
So I'd just like to, what me and Dan tend to do a lot of times at toy fairs and when we're together is apologise for Andy. So we're sorry that Andy kept cutting out all that time.
But to be fair, we'd have probably been apologising more if he had stayed on. So it's worked out well. It's fine.
He's a fucking liability.
He's a fucking liability. But thank you for having us, Dana. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Brilliant, man. And you've both gone down superbly well. I'm just going to drop you both backstage while I do my little sign off. So thank you both.
Les.
Right. viewers, I hope you've all enjoyed that. Welcome to the people who have come over from the toy community as well. Your support has been massively appreciated. Two top guys. I've spoke to them both at the NEC. Andy, your tech's fucking wank, but if we get it sorted, I'd like to have Andy on as well, and I'd like to extend that invite to Ed's Retro Geek Out if he wants to come on a stream sometime further down the line. I'd massively appreciate him on. We can do some talking because I know everyone likes it. What I'll do is I'll put their channels links in the description, and I will put the link to Dan's Instagram and Andy's Instagram and his channel, so you can go and check these guys out, learn a bit more about them if toys are your thing. They've been brilliant. I might do a little one-off stream tomorrow, which will just be me with no guests. So if you want to join and listen to it, because I've got some things I need to get off my chest because it's fucking been getting on my nerves today. And I may not be back Thursday because I've not got a guest lined up. But Friday, you are not going to want to miss Friday. Make sure you book Friday's stream into your plans. So on that, thank you all for watching. Take it easy, YouTube.